company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP This Morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Right, good morning to you. Welcome to VOP This Morning. I hate to start on a bad note, but then it feels like every weekend comes with a bad tale, a bad story. It's either you're hearing that family members are kidnapped, or you're hearing that buildings are being burned. You know, it's always from one bad news to another. But I wish I don't have to start with that this beautiful Monday morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning indeed. And I am Moses Humphrey, welcoming you to VOP This Morning.
And my name is Fina Okechukwu. Good morning, Mr. Moses.
Good morning to you, Fina. You look wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Well, Fina joins us on the show today. Makes her debut on VOP This Morning. Exactly. David, what's up with you?
I like the part where you said she made her debut. That sounds like a football player.
I know you are an enthusiast.
All right, a very good morning to you, wherever you're listening and watching us this amazing Monday morning. Well, quite an incident we want to really start with, talking about the Manila's Plaza that got burned during the weekend.
Mandelas, yes. Lagos.
Quite
one too many.
Quite an unfortunate one.
One too many.
Well, we hear that the firefighters really got there a bit in time, and that looks like a situation that was rescued to a very large extent. But then,
you know, I have a problem with now the marketplace has been structured in such a way that movement becomes difficult.
Oh yeah, that part.
So I think the powers that be the government or individuals or the authority in the market, they should create an avenue whereby the fire. I mean, in other climes there are
subways and people passing.
Well, I don't know what they call them now, but there are things on the ground, and pipes are passed to them, so fire trucks can easily come, plug in the hose, and put out fire in places where the trucks cannot get to easily. I think those should be constructed, and then again, the marketplace itself. I know when when structures are constructed, there are what's this word now? Is it filters, sprayers, fire, sprinklers. Yes, that's the word. There are sprinklers.
Yeah.
Why can't we have those in places like that? Places where people do business.
Again, I also think that it's about, yes, like you mentioned, rightly mentioned as well, the authorities putting these measures in place. We know very well that some of these buildings are very old buildings, right? And some of these ideas weren't, in the pipeline at the time.
No, that's
but even
that's
that,
not even a good thing.
I think it's actually going to work well when we actually stop making excuses about the old building and all that. And what happened to the modern markets that the government actually are putting in place now? Do they actually take note of those things?
Up in flames?
They don't. Sometimes actually hear that the market actually got burnt. There was a fire inferno somewhere, and people actually will lose millions and billions of money, and sometimes they'll just get little compensation from the government. Sometimes they won't get anything. I could remember then in Kano State where the well-known market where they sell at Tampa, the textile market in Kano actually got burnt. It lasted for like 1 week or thereabout. The fire actually was still burning. Wow. And you find out that this is not funny at all. I don't know why it's that way, but I think the government needs to do something about it. It's either they put new measures in place to make sure that they curb this infernos happening. And of course, till today, we don't even know what happened, what led to that fire outbreak. They kept on telling us that,
information as to
sometimes I think that was in Anambra State in Onitsha. We heard about how a tanker fell. And that caused another fire inferno. So
there are other topics that we'll be delving into this morning, and as we go into the papers, let's let you into the major topics for today. David?
Yeah, Nigerians deserve Tinubu's chaos. they had the chance to vote wisely. Now, this is coming from former Minister Rotimi Chibike Amechi.
Former Minister of Transportation.
Yeah, former Minister of
And also
Transportation.
one-time governor.
Of
Oh, well,
State.
we're talking about that, and Wike's divided attention, worsening FCT insecurity. That's according to DG Adinyaji. Well, these are the stories that we're tracking this morning. But first, of course, let's get into the papers.
Before we do that, before we get into the discussion, we encourage you to click on the subscribe button to be our fan, followers, and subscribe to our page. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. Okay, we're talking about diving or moving straight down into
the papers.
The
and we have
papers.
joining us, we have Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a development consultant and a chartered accountant. He joins us this morning as we start off with the papers and get into the major talking points. Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Moses, Fina, and David. And I'm also a historian, economic historian. All the things you listed, including what you listed, Fina and David, we had them in this country.
Wow.
Okay, so I like to say he was talking about sprinklers, he was talking about smoke detectors. We had them in the 60s. In Lagos, as an example, in Ibadan, in Onitsha, where we had governance and structure. You will go on there, you will see, in Yoruba, we say, Oju Ologbo. You know, you sit on the streets, you can plug in and water runs. So what has happened, Fina, is that we have lost development.
Oh,
We've gone many years backwards. Not to talk of the ones that you are now seeing during your lifetime, kidnapping and all what's done. So we had them, we lost them because we got too greedy and we got too inefficient. May the Lord God Almighty help us. It's not a time for prayer, really, Moses.
But then now, sorry.
May the Lord Almighty help us. I'm not saying that's a prayer. I'm making it as something we all have to look at. We must get to the promised land, Moses. Okay. We have to get to the promised land.
But sir,
and this time around, we must get to the promised land with Moses. Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying something. You said that we had them in the 60s. So for the like of Moses, myself, and David, that were not there. You know, it's funny when we come up and it's like we inherit something. I don't want to say something that bad, but I don't understand why people keep on saying before, you know, everything actually were better, but now.
Let's not dwell too much on that. You know, some people just feel like Nigeria got its independence too early. You know, so they didn't handle a lot of things well. I don't know. Maybe you'll.
If Nigeria got independent yesterday, if you got independent yesterday, all those things I've just mentioned to you in 1 or 2 days, it will go out.
That's
like
unfortunate.
smoke.
That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but
now let's quickly touch on the papers now, and do be reminded that we'll be going to the streets today to sample the opinion of Nigerians, as Tosin, our roving correspondent, will be talking to Nigerians about the issues in the news this morning. We'll join him in the course of the program. But in the meantime, let's look at the Punch newspaper. Kidnapping epidemic, banks enabling rapid growth of abduction industry, according to experts. Nigerians demand more from Tinubu. Security chiefs, Abuja family confirm ransom payment. Okay, and we heard rescue in another paper.
Exactly.
Rescue after the ransom has been paid. Well, Dangote refinery plans supply to 150,000 Ipman stations. Foreign medical school builds gulped $1.58 billion in 6 months. CBN. Tinubu panel asks states to suspend low revenue taxes. I would love to get your view on that one. Suspend low revenue taxes. Is that a good thing? Is that a good way to go? Will pressure not be mounted on other sectors of the economy? Oh well. And then the fire at Mandilas, the one we just talked about right there. That's the pictorial on the cover page of the Punch newspaper. And it has the rider, goods destroyed as fire guts 10-story Lagos market building. NSCDC foiled 48 bandit attacks on schools. Commandant General. Bini Ora Expressway, kidnappers freed my father. after 3 million naira ransom. Son, forensic probe of Ibadan blast to determine next action. FG. All right, so these are the headlines we have on the cover page of the Punch.
And on Vanguard newspaper.
Before we go to the Vanguard, let's hear Mr. Fatunke's take on some of the headlines we've shared so far.
In 2 or 3 sentences, Moses, I sat in front of you exactly seven days ago when we were reviewing newspapers, and in my concluding thoughts, I made a statement. Some people had that statement and they got back to me that how on earth will I be pleading with bandits not to go ahead and kill the other 5. And I said, in security studies, from my experience, you hear that when you are being kidnapped or something like that, don't fright, don't fritter. That's the time you now need to look like a fool, to stoop to continue to conquer. I pleaded with the terrorists. I don't know if they had me, and that they eventually did not kill those people, despite the fact that I know ransom was paid. Let me therefore say thank you. And there are so many people in the southeast, 45 that were captured. Please you don't have to kill them. I know that there are issues surrounding governance in Nigeria with elite complicit. Please behave like a Robin Hood. Please behave like a William Tell. You need to steal from the rich to help the poor. These people are helpless. I also would like to say that that is not in any way trying to condone. We have failed collectively, especially those who are ruling us, to safeguard lives and property, and we are losing it big time. Talking about the tax authorities.
Yes.
Because, look at
suspending low revenue taxes.
Whatever that means, the tax laws that we have already recognize the fact that if you are making certain quantum of turnover, your sale 5,000 naira, then all that you don't even fall within the tax debt. So if that is what they are saying, yes. If you have now scaled that upwards and then you are looking at SMEs, I know even before Bola Tinubu's government came in place, those are some of the incentives that has been given, and it's all clear. But if you are now looking at it and saying beyond that, beyond what the books are saying and the laws are saying, people are still being tasked. The local government are still tasking. Double taxation is going on. It might just be right to now shout and begin to say, look, this multiple taxation that is going, that Mr. Oyedele has clearly in his prescription to Bola Tinubu administration should not only be streamlined, should be discouraged. And please, ignorance of the law is not going to be an excuse. No matter who you are, if you see something, say something. If people are encumbering you and coming to demand for taxes, don't be afraid. Find a way to an NGO, find a way to a radio station like VOP, because it's the voice of the people. Test it and let people know that such things are happening. We should really not be expending our energies on low revenue taxes, when indeed we should be expanding the tax net, and we should be looking at the finance of this world, wearing beautiful rich watches and all that. And those are the kind of people we should be looking at.
To pay taxes.
I am not, to pay taxes.
No way.
Why we now look at Moses to be a very good arbiter. David will be the king. These are the people we should be.
Oh, God, okay.
All right, let's get into it.
Fine. Thank you so much, sir, for that. And let's move into the Vanguard newspaper. And this morning, Vanguard newspaper, we have a story that says, wrong time to fall sick in Nigeria as cost of medicine skyrockets. Okay. I don't know if they have a particular time for people to fall sick and all that, but all the same, we'll get to that. And this other one says how troops rescued Nabeha's sisters, others in Abuja kidnapped victims. And we have another one that says that we expect citizens to challenge us over budget performance, Bagudu. And the next story says that Abuja Chamber of Commerce to Tinubu, inflation squeezing businesses. And we have another one that says BON, NUJ, NGE, Carpet Police. And the other one says how abuse of ways and means worsen inflation. And the last but not the least here says Hares Energies celebrates significant milestones in operations. Those were the stories.
All right, those are the headlines. Yes, wrong time to fall sick indeed. Pharmaceutical companies are leaving. Some have left.
Exactly.
Drugs are increasingly expensive. You can't even get Fentanyl? Is that even still available right now?
Maybe it is. Maybe it's
you want
not.
to say paracetamol.
Well, you can't even get pain relievers for usual small amount. Everything is expensive, and people are resorting to traditional medicine. Which we know doesn't have measurement, and that in itself is a problem.
Exactly.
Anyway, those are my thoughts on that one.
My thought is that we are in a deep hole. My thought is that you said we don't have pain relievers. We have created pain, a lot of pain, and we better just understand that this is going to be with us. The other day we were talking about a market in Aba, is it? Cemetery market.
Yes.
Where adulterated products are holding sway. I just wonder what you think Professor Mrs. Akunyele in her grave, how she will be feeling now. So if you're not being kidnapped, you'll be taking fake drugs. There's no money to take drugs. We are fast receding into a situation where life has become nasty. It's become brutish, it's become short in this country. But I think the bones shall rise again if you all collectively decide that we are going to be creative. Moses then said that people are resorting to traditional medicine. Don't forget, in the 2022 budget, 2021-22 budget, the then Minister for Health, Hinari, we put a stop to say we are going to be going to traditional medicine. We put billions money into trillions. And the idea was to get tropical medicine. Okay, another history. Back in the day, Nigeria was the centerpiece for tropical medicine development. The likes of Professor Lambo. And people were coming all the way from Saudi Arabia to come look at that. In Lagos, if you know Unilag very well, just 2 or 3 places away from Unilag, we had a vaccine producing center for yellow fever. I mean, taking care of West Africa, and people were coming from the Commonwealth to come learn. If you go there right now, either you are going to see a church, a mosque, or a shrine all put there. We have taken the wrong steps. We are suffering the consequence. We hope and pray that a Daniel will have to come to justice. It's really bad, I tell you.
Wow. Really bad indeed. Now, I would like you to respond to, I'd like to get your thoughts on this one. Still from the Vanguard, how abuse of ways and means worsened inflation. The writers there, further rise expected in Q1 24. More controversy trails securitization of ways and means. Economists, analysts caution FG over CBN's act. And then it will take 40 years to resolve the problems. That's according to analysts.
I don't know which analyst is that, but I think it's going to take 100 years if we are not careful.
Wow.
The immediate past government's use of ways and means, printing money, and that's all backed by quantum production that was not in any way central bank governor now goes to whoever, and then what do you have to try and tame inflation, to try and tame money supply? You just go ahead and begin to print. And if you remember a development economists, which the governor of Edo State, Obaseki, shouted at that time, and we virtually asked him to stop. Now, what will be surprising to me right now is that Cardoso, under the watchful nose of the intercourse that I know we have between the physical and the monetary, will allow this to happen. 1, 2. And for somebody who understands finance in the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as we speak now, should allow that to hold sway. We can't just continue to want to print money. We must cut our quota according to our clock, and that is going to start with them. Yeah. We must look at what Bagudu is asking, that people should be looking at budget performance. Even before we start, we are already complaining that we see certain areas of those budgets that don't look constitutional, and we are giving to feeding the greed of the elites. No. But it's right. I hope when we continue to complain, they will listen. They will listen.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much for that. Now, let's quickly dive into the Guardian newspaper. And quickly, we're just going to run through it. The banner headline here says, skepticism over inflation, insecurity, economy outlook. Now, there is a pictorial here that analyzed some of the performances of selected African currencies against the dollar in the past 1 year, and Naira appreciated by 49%. All right, well, still giving you more stories there. Lagos bans single-use plastics, styrofoam, warns against indiscriminate storage of combustible items. Yes, and you also have their courts orders CBN to release MTN's funds repatriation details. And there you also find stop Akpabio Abbas from increasing budget, Serap tells the court. Also, you find here leadership tussle for opposition parties, merger and mega structure. Also, you find here about 50 billion naira property lost in Ibadan explosion as government ends rescue operations. Averting catastrophe of brain drain in the health sector. That's an editorial you find inside the Guardian newspaper. And then another story here says theft dropped by 82% as $1.2 billion OML 17 production hits 40,000 barrels per day. Yes, I was just going to short form it there. Falana also urges states to abolish pension payments to ex-governors. Now, that's about the final story. There's also one here. Niger Delta used to short flow stations and cut crude oil output. Now, these are the headlines inside the Guardian newspaper. Mr. Fatake, I really want your opinion on this call by Falana urging states to abolish pension payment to ex-governors. So what do you make of this statement?
What I make of it is that there's so much dysfunctionality, there's so much lack of sense of shame on the part of elites. Yes, Falana has been saying that. Quite a number of other people have been saying that. Does it not harm you? Was it Shakespeare in Macbeth that Lady Macbeth in her soliloquy was saying that which mother without equivocation would take a child from her suckling and dash that child's head on a stone? That is how wicked we have become. Why? You collecting it, no sense of shame. those who are administering paying it, no sense of shame, while the average person keeps on going back into penury. It goes without saying. All right? So, if it is going to be force by force, then so let it be force by force. And that is why citizen participation is now key. Moses, I think it's got to a time that in your church, you see somebody that you know is not up and doing, confront him. In my mosque, I see somebody that is not up and doing, confront me. And if Finek is, and she's going to be toasted by somebody she knows, please forget about the body or take the body and just tell him to go, just walk to hell. We need to begin to now name and shame. How do you explain a thing like that? Is it that we are so much totally lost and then we are complaining of people kidnapping? The kidnappers are seeing a lot of some of these things and they say it's now their turn. It's unfortunate. I think legislation should come into being. Let's now begin to see men and women of goodwill who will be able to stand up and say, look, Mr. Governor, you are not going to do that. Ogun State Governor at that time, what's his name? Benga Daniel, and maybe Fashola and Kupo and Dank Pabo back in the day. I've said, look, we relinquish. We are not going to allow this to happen. The rest are still sitting tight. It's not about party. It's not about Labour. It's not about PDP. It's not about whatever. It's, I'm going to give you SUV. You keep quiet and you say that when you are eating at the table, it's bad manners to begin to talk. So let us continue to now then talk more so that we can retrieve back our country.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we were unable to link up with Tosin on the streets of Lagos there, but we'll speak with him much later, and also let you know what Nigerians are saying. But in the meantime, let's look at what we're talking about. Let's start with the very first one, Fina.
Yes, today we opened this morning. The first topic today says that Nigerians deserve Tinubu's skills. They had the chance to vote wisely. And this is coming from the former governor of Rivers State and the former minister here in Nigeria, Rotimi Amechi. Details when we return. Don't go anywhere. Don't go. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.